So today's topic of discussion is inguinal region and femoral region. So getting into this topic, the thing that we need to master right now is this diagram. So this diagram, it includes inguinal region and femoral region. So talking about this diagram, let us concentrate on initial thing. The first thing that we need to concentrate here is we need to concentrate about inguinal ligament. So this one right here is inguinal ligament. As you can see here, it is inguinal ligament. And talking about its extent, right now, it arises from what? It arises from anterior superior iliac spine, and it goes to what? It goes to pubic tubercle, right? Pubic tubercle is somewhere right here, right? Okay, now that is what? That is its extent from anterior superior iliac spine to what? To our what? Pubic tubercle. Now this whole line, this includes what? Inguinal ligament. Now here, if you concentrate, you will see one structure right here, and this structure is femoral artery. Now what is the importance of femoral artery? Okay, femoral artery is the region, okay, it is the region because of which we are able to hear what? Femoral pulse. We can hear what? Femoral pulse. Femoral pulse. Femoral pulse is heard because of femoral artery. And talking about the exact location of femoral artery is exactly located in mid-inguinal point. What I said is mid-inguinal point. What is this point where the femoral artery is present? This point is called what? Mid-inguinal point. What I am saying is mid-inguinal point. Now this another thing that we need to know right here is this mid-inguinal point is not equivalent to what? Is not equivalent to mid-inguinal ligamental point. That means mid-inguinal point and midpoint of inguinal ligament are two different things. Why these are two different things? Because this inguinal ligament, it is extended from what? Anterior superior iliac spine to what? Pubic tubercle. But inguinal point is the point, the mid-inguinal point is the point at the midpoint of anterior superior iliac spine to what? Pubic symphysis. So these are different things. What I said is mid-inguinal point is the point between what? Anterior superior iliac spine to what? Pubic symphysis. And we are going to hear femoral pulse where? We are going to hear femoral pulse in what? Mid-inguinal point, or the point between anterior superior iliac spine to pubic symphysis. But the mid-inguinal ligamental point, midpoint of inguinal ligament, is the point between what? Anterior superior iliac spine to what? Pubic tubercle. So that is one important thing. Okay, now okay, we talked about what? Femoral triangle and inguinal ligament. Now let us see, there is one structure you can see right here. Okay, let me erase this one. Okay, here you can see one structure, right? Here you can see one structure, this one. Okay, now what is this structure? This structure is called deep inguinal ring. Okay, what is its importance? We learn deep inguinal ring in detail in inguinal canal, but right now we need to know what this is. Deep inguinal ring, right? Deep inguinal ring. Now it is present just above mid-inguinal point. Okay, what we are saying about mid-inguinal point is there was what? There was the presence of femoral artery just what? In mid-inguinal point. Now we are talking about another structure, and that another structure is what? The another structure is deep inguinal what? Ring. It is also present just above the mid-inguinal point. Okay. Now what is its importance? What is the importance of deep inguinal ring? Okay, the importance of deep inguinal ring is that the testis, okay, we have already discussed in previous lecture that testis descends from abdomen to scrotum. Why it descends? It descends because for the production of sperm we require less 2 degrees Celsius less than normal human body temperature, so it needs to be descended down. So while descending down into scrotum, the testis will pass through this deep inguinal ring, and it will reach where? It will reach the region of scrotum. So that is its importance, right? Okay. And this deep inguinal ring will give rise to what? This will give rise to canal, and that is known as the inguinal canal. Okay, Now inguinal canal will extend from this deep inguinal ring to what? Another ring, and another ring is superficial inguinal ring. Okay, superficial inguinal ring. Okay, here, okay, this is the pubic symphysis. We already said that. What we said? Pubic symphysis and what? Anterior superior iliac spine, right? This is the point of pubic symphysis. Pubic symphysis and anterior superior iliac spine, they have the midpoint, and that midpoint is mid inguinal point. Okay, now as discussed earlier, the testis was what? Descending down through what? Deep inguinal ring. Now while descending down, this testis is being pulled by what? Gubernaculum. What it is pulled by? It is pulled by gubernaculum. Gubernaculum, gubernaculum, right? Now this gubernaculum will what? This will just attach the caudal pole of testis. What it will attach is caudal pole of testis, right? And it will pull down the testis. Okay, now talking about the descent of testis, you can see this is what? This is testis. What is going on right here? The testis is being pulled into what? Into scrotum, right? Into scrotum, and testis is being pulled into scrotum with the help of gubernaculum, as you can see. And as we have mentioned earlier, this gubernaculum will attach to caudal end of testis. Okay, now when this testis is being pulled down, at that time there will be the formation of one process, and that is vaginalis process or processus vaginalis. Okay, initially, as you can see, what is this? This is the peritoneum, right? This is the peritoneum, right? It is covered by it is the peritoneum. Since the testis is present behind the peritoneum, so initially testis is retroperitoneal structure. You can see it is present behind the peritoneum. What is this? This is peritoneum. Okay, let me write it. Peritoneum, right? And this testis at the beginning, it is what? It is retroperitoneal organ. So moving forward, this testis, as we have mentioned, testis is pulled by what? This is pulled by gubernaculum. It is pulled by gubernaculum, right? And by attaching to caudal pole of testis, by attaching to what? By attaching this testis. Okay, this testis is being pulled by gubernaculum by attaching to what? Caudal end. Okay, as you can see, as we have mentioned earlier, there will be the formation of vaginalis process or processus vaginalis. Now this processus vaginalis, what it will do is it will be obliterated. Okay, this process vaginalis, as you can see right here, it is being what? It is being obliterated, right? It is being removed. Now this process vaginalis will remove. Okay, and this removal of this process vaginalis will prevent the continuation of peritoneal cavity and what? An inguinal cavity. So there will be now what? Discontinuation. Now when there will be discontinuation, at the time there will be the formation of, there will be remnant, something of remnant structure of process vaginalis, and that will be tunica vaginalis, right? Tunica vaginalis. And this tunica vaginalis, what it will do is, this tunica vaginalis will cover this testis, right? You can see right here the testis has descended down, and this small structure, as you can see right here, this is the remnant of what? Gubernaculum, and this testis is being surrounded by what? Tunica vaginalis, right? Okay, now this was what? This was about descent of testis, right? Descent of testis. Okay, why testis? Testis is descending down. It is descending down because testis requires 2 degree less temperature than the body to form sperm, right? In inguinal region, it pass in front of pubis bone. What is now these things? What it is happening? It is happening in the front of what? Pubis bone, right? Here we have pubis bone, in front of pubis bone. Okay, in front of pubis bone. During passage it follow. Okay, during the passage it follows what? It is followed by process known as process vaginalis, right? What is this process vaginalis? It is the double fold of what? Peritoneum, right? Okay, now process vaginalis, what will happen is this process vaginalis, this will later become tunica vaginalis. We have discussed earlier tunica vaginalis, and this tunica vaginalis will cover what? Will cover our testis. Okay, now this will cover testis. If this process vaginalis will not be removed or it will not be obliterated, then what will happen? This process vaginalis will provide the means through which there will be continuation of peritoneal cavity and inguinal cavity, and because of this reason the peritoneal structure would protrude, right, and that may give rise to hernia, right. And here the common hernia that we will be talking about is, it will cause indirect inguinal hernia. What I said is it will cause what? Indirect inguinal hernia. And this condition, we are talking this condition when there will be no obliteration of process vaginalis, right. What I said is there will be indirect inguinal hernia. Okay, now this indirect inguinal hernia, it is more common in young male. What I said is it is more common in young male, and talking about it is less common in elderly male, right, and it is least common. What I said is least common in females. Okay, this was what? This was about the descent of testis. Similarly, descent of ovary, it follows the same pattern. As you can see, this is ovary, and it is what? At the beginning it is also what? It is also retroperitoneal organ, right, retroperitoneal organ. Now here what is going on? Same gubernaculum, it is attaching to what? The caudal end of what? Caudal end of ovary, and this ovary is being pulled toward what? Labia majora. In testis we talked about scrotum, right. Gubernaculum was attaching to the caudal end of testis, and it was bringing that testis down to scrotum. And here what is going on is this ovary is being brought to what? Labia major, right. Okay, now this was okay, you can see right here. Okay, now another thing that we need to know right here is the factor that will prevent the ovary to reach labia majora, right. What are the factors that will not allow this ovary to reach in labia majora? And talking about the things, okay, here uterus divides gubernaculum into two ligaments. What uterus is doing? There was one single gubernaculum, it is dividing this gubernaculum into two ligaments. Now what are these two ligaments, right? One is round ligament of uterus, right, round ligament of uterus. Another is, what is another? Another is round ligament of ovary. As you can see, it is near what? It is near ovary, and here round ligament of uterus, you can see right here. Now gubernaculum is divided into two structures. We can say these round ligament of uterus and round ligament of ovary as a remnant of gubernaculum. We can say as a remnant of gubernaculum, right. Okay. Now what is going on is round ligament comes to labia majora, right. Round ligament, as you can see, round ligament comes to what? Labia majora. The ultimate point is labia majora, where they will take ovary, right. Labia majora. Now these will follow the path as same of our testis. That means it will also pass through being in front of pubis, right, in front of pubis. Few lymphatics of uterus follow round ligament and drain into superficial inguinal lymph node. Now superficial inguinal lymph node, now what it is saying here is few lymphatics of uterus, right. There are many lymphatics of uterus also, but few of them will follow the round ligament. They will follow the round ligament and they will drain into superficial inguinal lymph node, right. Okay. Now here also there will be remnant of process vaginalis. Process vaginalis will be obliterated here also. Normally it will be obliterated, but now what will happen here is okay. Now what will happen here is this process vaginalis will be obliterated, but persistent process vaginalis will follow what? round ligament of uterus. Now when this will be persistent, what they will form is they will contribute also to round ligament of uterus, right? And pull the content of intestine into labia majora. Similarly, the same story is going on right here. That means if this will be remained, or if this will not be obliterated, then what will happen? There will be hernias, right? And these hernia, what they will cause is they will pull, right? They will pull the content of abdomen into what? Into labia majora, right? And this is also indirect inguinal hernia. So one important point from this topic is, what is the one important point question is, testis completely descend into scrotum by the age of what? I mean, testis will completely descend into scrotum by what age? And that will be what? Okay, now that point we will discuss now. Okay, descent of testis timing. So talking about the descent of testis timing, okay, let me show you here. Okay, testis will be, okay, before getting into the timing, we'll just look at the diagram that we discussed right now. Okay, now here you can see, what you can see initially, what we saw is we saw inguinal ligament, right? We saw inguinal ligament. Now this is the point of inguinal ligament. Inguinal ligament from what? Anterior superior iliac spine to what? To what? To here, somewhere here we have pubic tubercle. Now and then we talked about femoral artery. Now where this femoral artery is present? This femoral artery is present in mid inguinal point. Now what is this mid inguinal point? The mid inguinal point is the point between anterior superior iliac spine to pubic symphysis. As you can see right here, this is pubic symphysis. That is mid inguinal point, where we'll find femoral artery and where we can feel the femoral arterial pulse. Now talking about mid inguinal point, we discussed that there will be deep inguinal ring, right? Deep inguinal ring from where the testis will descend down into scrotum, right? From where testis will descend down into scrotum. And we talked another thing, that the extension of inguinal canal is from deep inguinal ring to superficial inguinal ring, right? And this is the pathway through which testis will be descending down into scrotum. And another was superficial inguinal ring, right? And this testis, right, this will move from abdominal cavity or peritoneal cavity into scrotum through this path, as you can see right here, right? And these point are what? Inguinal region. This point, whatever is happening, is inguinal region. Okay, now testis will move. Okay, now the timing about the testis, descent of testis. Okay, initially at the beginning, the testis, what was the testis? Testis was what? Intra abdominal. At what time? At week 7, right? Week 7, or we can say second month of intrauterine life. At this time, until this time, the testis is what? Intra-abdominal, right? Intra-abdominal. Now what will happen is it will start descending. Now it will start descending and it will reach to pelvis. What I'm saying is it will reach to pelvis. It will reach to pelvis at what? At third month of intrauterine life. Okay, now it will, okay, now what is going on is this testis was right here at the week 7 or second month of intrauterine life. It will descend down, it will reach the region of pelvis, or it will reach in pelvis bone, and at what? At third month of intrauterine life, right? It will, now what it will do is it will remain in this deep inguinal ring. Okay, it will remain near deep inguinal ring till what? Till 7th month, right, of intrauterine life. Where it will remain? It will remain near deep inguinal ring. Now what is going on now? Okay, till 7th month of intrauterine life, it will remain here near deep inguinal ring. Now after 7 months, right, now what it will do is it will just enter deep inguinal ring. It will enter in deep inguinal ring, and it will pass through inguinal canal, right? Inguinal canal. Now this will happen after 3-4 days, right? After 3-4 days. Now from this inguinal canal to scrotum, right? It takes 1.5 months to reach scrotum, right? From this superficial inguinal ring, from this superficial inguinal ring to this scrotum, the testis takes how much? 1.5 months to reach there, right? Okay, now before birth, that means at the time of birth the testis will be already descended down to scrotum. So this was about what? Here we talked about what? We talked about this diagram. We talked about what? Inguinal ligament, its what? Its extent, right? We talked about femoral artery. We talked about difference between mid inguinal point and midpoint of inguinal ligament, right? We talked about what? We talked about descent of testis. We talked about process vaginalis. We talked about gubernaculum, how it is pulling down testis. Similarly we talked about descent of ovaries into labia majora, right? Similarly we just mentioned this thing in diagrammatic representation, right? Okay. now this was all about what? This was all about inguinal region and femoral region. So the next topic that we will be discussing is, we'll be discussing about inguinal canal and spermatic cord.